It's kind of dark, no? Or are we just all brown?
No, it's not dark. I think
So
it's
we're
dark.
just all brown.
We're just all brown.
I mean, we are.
So what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something that has been pretty interesting to me for a long time. I guess we'll call it sustainability. Our guest here today is our friend Raj, who is, I guess, studying this stuff. And he's kind of a sustainability expert. And what made me want to talk to him about this topic was the fact that last year, was it?
About a year now.
He wrote like a report on zero waste. So I looked up like what zero waste was, and it kind of stemmed from this girl who lived for a year, right, with the mason jar.
Yeah. That's how I was introduced to it.
What was it about?
Oh, so I came across a video on YouTube. Lauren Singer, who was able to fit a year or 2 years worth of trash in a mason jar,
Right.
and that just blew me away. What was even more surprising is learning about the amount of trash and plastic that we create on a day-to-day basis. So. That was my introduction to it. But the zero waste concept has been around since like the 90s or even the 80s. Like people have been.
So give us like a quick rundown of what zero waste is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I just want to like disclose like the zero waste thing and, you know, being environmental to me before I actually knew somebody that was doing it was just like this trendy buzzword.
Right.
You know, like went along with being vegan.
Right.
And stuff.
Right.
And so for me, somebody that I actually respect and know that's actually doing it, then it became more real to me.
For sure.
Because before everybody's like, yeah, I'm zero waste too. It just felt like an SNL skit. I'm just being honest. Like,
No.
You know, and that's...
No, I mean, and I can see that, and that's something that everyone is trying to address in the zero waste community, if you want to call it that. But
Right.
in a nutshell, zero waste is just trying to reduce the amount of trash you send to the landfill. I mean,
Sure.
in its most simplistic terms. I mean, it gets deeper and you start learning more, but in its most like purest definition, I think, and the simplest definition is just reducing, whether it be plastic, paper, whatever. Right now, there's a focus on plastic pollution and reducing your single-use plastic usage. Like in general, it's reducing what you send to the landfill.
So when you were doing this, what was the biggest challenge coming from just being like a regular person and going into that?
The biggest challenge, I'd say, was shifting your mentality and your mindset, because we have a lifetime of habits that we're just accustomed to, like the way we live, the way we do things, the way we shop. It's been ingrained in us from day one. Our parents did it, their parents, like whatever. Society is built that way.
Yeah.
So the challenge was to shift that mentality and actually think about like almost every decision I'm making on a day-to-day basis that will impact how much trash I create and what I send to the landfill. So what that be grocery shopping, what I bring into the house. It's generated from shopping and eating, like all the trash that we create. So tweaking that mentality and like stopping and taking a moment to like ask myself how to not bring the trash in, how to find a different way to do a thing that I've been doing for my whole life. So that's been the biggest challenge.
Do you think the system is kind of set up against that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We live in a, like, have you heard the term linear economy, like a linear lifestyle? Again, breaking it down in the simplest terms, we live in a take, make, waste society. So like these corporations or companies or manufacturers take resources, they make a product out of it, sell it to us, the consumer, that eventually breaks or we don't have a use for anymore and is sent to the landfill. So that's linear, right? It's like taking, making, wasting. Yeah. Versus what we're trying to get to, or what we should get to, is a circular economy, where the producer should have a responsibility to take back the goods that we're done with, to either recycle it, reuse it, or dispose of it in a sustainable manner, in an environmentally friendly manner, instead of it ending up in a landfill. So
do you know, like, what would be an example of something like that? Does that exist at all at this point?
It does.
There's some paper products that right? Like that
there's
I've
paper
seen.
products. There's some companies that are really doing it well. What I learned about in my sustainability program, first, it's not glamorous at all. It's a carpet company, but they were game changers in the world of manufacturing and creating a fully closed loop manufacturing process. Ray Anderson was the CEO of Interlock, a carpet manufacturing company, and he was a traditional businessman, like profits, like didn't know or didn't care about the environment until he read some book, but it totally shifted his mindset. He's like, holy like, I need to change the way I'm doing business. I have a responsibility to not destroy this planet just for profit. So he literally like just shifted his whole manufacturing process of these carpets, reinvigorated his whole business, and was able to still make a profit and be a sustainable closed loop company. So he's like Tim Cook of like sustainability CEOs. Like everyone in that world knows him and respects him. He passed away last year, but in 3 of my classes that I'm taking, like he gets referenced and his company gets referenced all the time.
So like, how does one start to switch that mindset? Like, where do you even begin? Because everything from just like your water, bottled and packaged, and that's a whole industry.
That's a whole industry in itself.
You know, how did you start? Let's go from there. How did you?
So from that video that I was inspired from, literally just like the lowest hanging fruit in the house would be reusable bottles, cutlery. That was a little bit of a hurdle because you still feel that stigma when you bring that stuff to a restaurant or like,
people are like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so that was hard to get over, but eventually you do. It's just like anything else. Like, who gives a like?
Right. No,
I don't care what you think. Yeah, I don't.
Right. No, of course.
They're not gonna remember you. They're not. I mean,
yeah.
At the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
So the lowest hanging fruit would be like bottles, bags. You know, when you go grocery shopping, you bring your own bag.
Sure.
Like, and that what we found like snowballed into bigger and more impactful actions, and then just research and just more videos.
Because I even saw like the doggy poop bags.
Oh yeah,
I remember because you guys just bring that thing and you guys just.
I mean that wasn't even my idea. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to do that.
Wait, what was it?
So when we take Zeke for a walk, instead of using doggy bags, we bring our pooper scooper with us.
Oh, okay.
So we just like scoop his poop and then flush it down when we get back. So we
Oh.
carry it while we walk, but we still have bags. I mean, when we go out of town or so, and that's another thing. Like, zero waste is so misleading, the phrase. Like, it's impossible to be zero waste.
Because that was where I was going to ask you next. Is I'm like, this girl that was doing it in the video seemed so nonchalant about it. And she was like cute and stuff. You're just like, oh, like anybody, it's like living in a van. Like anybody can do this.
And there's a lot of issues with the zero waste community. Like, I hate calling it a movement. I hate calling it a lifestyle, but whatever it is, there are unspoken issues that are coming to light. Like, you know, there is a little bit of privilege associated with living the way she was living, or other extreme versions of that. And it's not easy, and not everyone has the same access or time or financial capability to do and make these changes in their lives. So to your point from earlier, it can come off as like trendy and just like surface level.
Like, I'm not trying to come off as like, ooh, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
but it's a fact though.
Because like when it first started becoming really popular, that's kind of that was my perception before.
Yeah.
Just based off of the people that were leading that quote unquote movement.
Which is white females, basically.
Yeah, you said it, not me.
No, I mean, it's everyone knows it, and a lot of people are trying to change that perception. And
because I mean, you changed my perception just me knowing you.
Right.
You know, and just like learning more about it. So
I guess, like, what would you say is the most difficult thing that you did to like make that shift?
Most difficult thing.
Like, as in like a specific example.
Like an item, like a actual
toilet paper.
So
That would be tough.
it's funny. Well, as I'm talking out loud, like Jess has been like I brought the zero waste idea to our household, but she has been the catalyst for a lot of the changes. So toilet paper was her idea to get a bidet. I was like, no, because it was just it was too weird for me.
Yeah.
You know, she kept it up for a few months, like not nagging, but just like bringing it up, doing her own research.
Yeah.
Then she found one on sale at Costco, like the Rolls Royce of
bidets.
Because in my mind, what I had imagined was just like the squirt of water going up there, and like I'm like, you still have to dry yourself, you still have to like. Yeah. But no, this comes with a heated seat. It comes with a dryer. It's a remote control. Like, I'm like, all right, let's try it. So I was able to install it myself, and game changer. Like, game changer.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I went to Japan, and like all the toilets in like Tokyo and stuff they're like super luxurious for like all these buttons and stuff. And, like, that was our like top 3 favorite thing about Japan. It was like bidets and these fancy ass toilets. Like,
because you feel clean afterwards. Like, it's not, you're not.
You feel like a savage. You're going back to like toilet paper.
If you get shit on the carpet, you're not gonna take a dry towel to rub it off. You're gonna get a spray and wet it and like wipe it off. So why can't you do that with your
So would you say that was the biggest one?
So it was the hardest to convince me to do, and then it was also personally just lifestyle. Like it was a good.
And then I saw you did something on your front lawn of your house. Like you got rid of the grass.
The introduction to zero waste and starting to live that way and shift our mentality led into a whole wide array of environmental issues and like just ideas that just opened up to us. Climate change was a big one, and this is all stuff like we're all aware of, and I was aware of too beforehand, but it just didn't click the same way it does now. But yeah, so going back to the yard, we removed our grass, we removed our turf, and replaced it with a California-friendly, drought-friendly landscape that's beneficial for the birds, bees, butterflies, and the rainwater capture. So it doesn't, when it rains, it doesn't just like run off into the street and waste it. It actually soaks back into the ground. And that was a crazy story too, because we were this close to like paying some landscaper to do like some trendy, modern, like minimal drought resistant landscape.
Yeah.
The Monday they were supposed to start work. That Saturday we took a class, DWP was offering a free landscaping class, and just like dropped all this knowledge on us about California friendly landscaping and just like switched our mentality on it, on how to approach it. I started doing all this research. I took my own California landscape classes, and then within 6 months did it all ourselves, and within 6 months like totally redid the yard, and it looks beautiful now because there's like golden poppies, there's like purple sage, there's like all these flowers are blooming, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I know you did that for that year. Like, what things came of that you maintained, or did you keep it up with all of it?
Oh, all of it. It's now it's
just normal to you now.
Now it's just normal. So like you were saying, how it looks so nonchalant with her in the video.
Yeah.
Like all of this is just like second nature to us now. We've got our grocery routine down. We've got all the routines down. It's like we broke all those old habits and like incorporated new ones into our lives, which are normalized it.
Before you worked in like the ad industry, and
right.
Now you're in school to do sustainability for a living.
Which is crazy, right? Because the ad industry is all about consumerism.
Right.
Did that play a part in like what made you switch over? It was like,
oh yeah, that's interesting.
That definitely played a role in it, yeah, because beginning of last year, I was starting to feel like uneasy about it because of that.
Because you're advertising on like that linear scale that we were talking about.
Like buy this product because you need it, or because you want it, not because you need it. Like just buy, yeah, consume. So I was thinking about my next steps, like what I can do, what I should do, but I wasn't making any moves. And then fortunately, I was laid off last April, which was a shock at first to the system. Like, oh shit, like I really need to figure out what I want to do. But within a couple days, that's when I joined the Sierra Club. Had never volunteered with them in my life before.
What's the Sierra Club?
They're the largest and oldest environmental organization in the country.
Okay.
So they are activists. There's a volunteer aspect to it, and then what they're really known for are their outdoor hikes and like activities like that. Jumped full in with the Sierra Club. Started networking. Started meeting with people, like-minded people. Social media played a really big role in that. There's a huge zero waste community on social media, and I was able to find a few people that lived in LA, so met up with them, and that just grew into just a whole new network of like-minded people. Took on like contract jobs working at a waste hauler. It was a waste audit, so I had a full hazmat suit on and going through people's recycling to figure out to separate it out, to audit where it came from. So that was eye-opening. So learning about the back end and on what happens to our trash and recyclables. So just learned a lot in the past year. Learned about the sustainability program at UCLA and figured I should check it out.
What would be your ideal like next move after you finish getting a certificate?
That's a good question. I still don't know. I mean, I want to be able to. So I do know I want to do something that'll make an impact.
Yeah.
I want to do something that'll help bring awareness to the problem and how we can do something to solve it on an individual basis. But we can't change it on an individual basis. So the one thing I want to add is these changes that we're making, or that we've implemented in our lives and other zero wasters have, and other people that are in sustainability, individual action can only go so far. Then
do you think that legislation is necessary for major progress?
Absolutely. Yeah. Legislation and corporate responsibility. I mean, without that.
That's the biggest thing though. But
I was gonna say, how
That-
realistic do you think that
that's
is?
to me. I mean, and I'm not a pessimist. Like I'm trying to be optimistic all the time, you know. But like to me, this country specifically is bred on capitalism.
Absolutely.
And is bred on money. So how are you going to tell these big companies that are profiting to change?
They listen to the public. I mean, if there's public demand, they will change. And like the prime example is Trader Joe's. Greenpeace ran a campaign, and other people have been doing work too, but Greenpeace ran a recent campaign to get Trader Joe's to use less single-use plastic because everything there comes in wrapped in plastic. I was able to join them with Sierra Club when we went down to their corporate headquarters in Monrovia and delivered like 5,000 petitions of people wanting them to change. Not saying that this sole action caused them to take notice and make the changes that they just announced, but I'm sure it was one big reason.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even though they had been probably thinking about it, and they said they've been talking about it for the past year on what they can do to be more sustainable, but they just announced last month that they're phasing out, not all, but like they're making big strides in
That's awesome.
in achieving that. So just like anything else
It takes time.
in
It's
the
like
world,
moving a train.
it takes time,
Right.
and it takes public demand. If the corporations see that the public wants something different, or it's going to hurt their bottom line, and people stop shopping for a specific product, and it hurts the company, that's one way. And then legislation obviously will always help, like legislation against the tobacco companies back in the 80s or 90s.
No, totally.
So governments need to get involved, and again, the only way the government will listen is if the people want it. So I think it still ties back to the
individuality as well. Like, I mean, because they need to show that
they need to
care,
show.
right?
Exactly.
And I think that is a big thing, is because a lot of people will say, well, it doesn't affect me.
Right.
And they don't see that it does. Like, they can't see past
And it's hard.
what's just in front of them.
Yeah, and that's the case.
And I'm guilty
for
of it
everything.
for sure. You know what I mean? Like,
But that's why.
until you see like a video on Facebook of a turtle with a straw,
And
then
that video did so much to like get people's awareness up on
for
that.
straws.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then you're always gonna have the naysayers, even on the environmental side, like the extreme environmentalists that like straws are not enough. Like banning straws is not enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Like cigarette butts outnumber
Oh.
like straws in the ocean, and
I'm sure.
fishing nets, and there's so much other that is making more of an impact that's more detrimental than straws, but it's a start. And it got legislation, it got governments listening, it got restaurants, it got businesses listening. So it's a start, and it's
You gotta start somewhere.
you got to start somewhere. You're not going to change our society or the way things have been running for overnight.
So do you think that there is a way for, especially Americans, to maintain the level of like comfort that they have,
Right.
but also do this?
Honestly, I think yes. I guess I could be looked at as extreme, and I think there are other people more extreme than how I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I don't think I've taken a step back in my comfort or convenience or any of that. I think there is a balance. I think there can be a balance. I don't think you have to go as extreme as making a year's worth of trash and putting it in a mason jar.
Right.
But I also don't think you shouldn't do anything. Right? There's always a balance. And I think if you can do what you can, how you can, I think that's a start. And if other people see it and other people start taking small steps to...
You can start like influencing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it should be something taught. Like, I think education should be a part of it.
So going back to what you asked, what ideal scenario after all this, or to start a new career or something? I mean, I think education is huge for kids, adults, but I think starting at a young age.
Right, because that'll shift. Like, if they learn certain things, just simple concept of where does your garbage go?
Exactly. Like make a program or have it be taught in school. Or you guys remember Captain Planet? Like
Yeah.
I loved Captain Planet.
And that was the thing, like I feel like in the 90s it was a super big thing, like recycling, like Captain Planet, the garbage Avengers or whatever, the Toxic Avengers.
Toxic
like all that stuff was huge back then. And I think we did change a lot of things from like the way it was in the 70s and 80s, but then it kind of fell off.
It did fall off.
Right.
So why was there a surge during that time? Because I remember that too, clearly.
Yeah, the Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Yes.
Why do I think there was a surge at that time?
Well, why didn't it even just stop?
Continue?
You know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Corporate money.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I still think they should reboot Captain Planet in
1
like a
million
modern...
%, dog.
We vote for it.
Man,
Let's do it.
I've been thinking that. Like,
Right?
they would make like a live action movie, but like
With
it's not funny.
Well, no, totally.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
because it's so
they
timely
rebooting everything
right
else.
now.
Exactly.
Right.
Dude.
And a couple years ago, there was a spoof. There was a Don Cheadle.
Yeah,
episode.
I'm like, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, they should do it not funny, like, but like dead ass serious.
Right.
Because I feel like they
We'll
could.
direct it. Hit us up,
There you
you
go.
know?
I think it would be great. Yeah.
Because I think one of the biggest problems with in general like humanity is like we keep not learning our lessons because we die. So it's like
Yeah.
like everybody thinks that they know everything because they're starting over from scratch from like the last generation. So it's like what do you think that you could tell the future? Because I think people now kind of don't care because subconsciously in the back of their mind they're kind of like, this is not my problem. Like,
that's what I was saying,
I'm not
like-
going to be here.
People don't take accountability
Right.
because it's not directly affecting them now, and
Right.
they're like, well, I'm not gonna see it.
Right.
I'm gonna be dead.
Right.
Because to me, I agree with Tony. Like that's the biggest hurdle.
It is, and that's the biggest hurdle in the whole sustainability movement in general. Sustainability, whether it be climate change, other environmental issues like climate change, deforestation. It's all nothing, especially us in America, except for not except for, I'm not trying to minimize the
Sure.
impact of
Of
natural
course.
disasters, but like the fires and the hurricanes.
Yeah.
Besides that, nothing has really impacted us directly.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not going to impact us overnight. I think we're going to see a gradual change. And I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. Until our resources start getting more expensive, until prices increase, until we're actually affected.
That's what I was like. Until we start seeing, our produce go up in the
Right.
grocery store, those types of things, then people are gonna start asking questions.
More so, yeah. I think that'll help the tipping point, right? Until then, there's going to be, like the 80-20 rule, like 80% of fill in the blank is impacted by 20% of people or the population, like in work, in life. I think in all aspects of life, I think that's a pretty standard rule that can be applied. So like there's always the vocal, extreme groups of people that push for change in other aspects of life, right? Or there's always 20% of people that do the work for 80% of the other people in the company, like but and maybe that's just human nature, and like that's why we just need to do our part where we can.
But I think it's awesome what you and Jess are doing.
Thank
I
you.
think
Yeah,
you
thank
guys
you.
are setting an awesome example for even just like people in your circle,
And that's-
and that's kind of like you want that
Yeah.
effect to happen.
I hate anyone being preachy. I hate like being told what to do.
I'm listen, I am the same way. I don't like being like recycle shamed. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't like being environmentally
shamed.
shamed. Like I don't like it. Like what you do is what you do, and I respect it. So like I don't need a sneer if I crack open a bottle of water.
Right. Right.
Like you can talk to me about it, and it's
And that's
all
the
about
thing.
the approach.
Right.
Because I do feel like there's like an elitist mentality that
Absolutely.
accompanies
Absolutely.
this movement.
It really is an important
People
piece
need to
of-
feel like that they can be a part of this movement and not be shamed for how they've been living their
Right.
life.
Absolutely. That is something we also had to learn. Not that I ever wanted to shame anyone.
Right.
But after we started making these changes and we'd be hanging out with friends or whatever, family, friends, and we would see the plastic use and all that, I just had to remind myself not to come across as, demeaning or like like a douchebag. Yeah, like a D-bag. Because just months earlier, I was doing the same thing.
Right.
Like, we're all on a different path. We're all on different levels. We can't keep, what's the word?
Like shaming.
Right,
Shaming. We can't.
Like
we
at the
can't-
end of the day, like you're leading by example because people are
Yes.
looking at what you're doing. So
Yeah,
to me,
exactly.
like that's the strongest form of influence.
And to your point, conversation, like having a talk about it
yes.
instead of like
having a discussion.
scolding. A
Yeah,
discussion.
exactly. Having a discussion.
Right. I still feel weird posting about it on social media. Like I'm torn on social media because it's a great platform to reach people.
Sure.
But I also don't want to come across as like, look at me.
Yeah.
Well, look at what I'm doing. I'm better than you. Like that's not what I want to come across at all. I
don't think that I don't get that from you.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
I mean, I would tell you straight up right now, Like
Yeah,
if I
you
got
would,
that from
you
you,
would.
I definitely don't. I think it's really cool. I mean, you've opened my eyes to a lot of things in a non-preachy way.
All right,
So-
good.
With that said, what's the story behind these shirts then?
Oh yeah, so we try to do
that's intense.
whatever we can, to give back, and so I had come across this company that sells the shirts called Karmagawa. They build schools, and they help stop poaching of animals like rhinos and elephants. But they're super cool. Karmagawa.com. You can check them out. Yay.
Get you one.
Get
Be
one.
cool like us.
Did you hear
Anyway,
that?
helps, like shirts are our thing, so we're like, okay, if this t-shirt is going to help a cause, let's get it.
Thanks
Thank-
again, Raj, for coming out.
Thank you guys.
Thanks so much.
Really appreciate it.
Is there anything is there a resource online that if people wanted to start, maybe they can go look at?
All I can think of are blogs and social media personalities that have helped me.
Listen.
I have a good friend in LA, vintage_is_eco. Tamar, she's amazing. Zero Waste Guy.
Okay.
Zero Waste Guy.
Here in
I've
LA.
seen
Jonathan.
him.
I can't even think of. Bea Johnson is one of the big names in Zero Waste right now.
Before we go, I do want to give Karmagawa the correct stats. So they've built 51 schools and libraries. They've helped 3,752 animals, and they've served 227,272 meals.
Wow.
Shout out to them.
Damn.
Some of the charities that they donate to are Veterans Empowered to Protect African Wildlife, Save the Children, Second Chance Humane Society, Rancho Relaxo, Pencils of Promise, Bali Children's Project, Path Making at Home, Houston Food Bank,
Wow.
Cambodian Village Fund,
Wow.
and yeah, that's it. Karmagawa.
Nice.
Buy a shirt.
Everybody remember to like and share these. Also, we're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. Give us some reviews.
Yes, please rate and review our podcast. We need that. Rate and review. Oh, and share this. Share.
I already said that.
Sorry.
Can't
You can
emphasize
never
it
emphasize sharing enough.
enough.